Our Earth, the planet, is called green because it has a cover of vegetation, forest, shrubs, and grasses. And there is a saying about the vegetation, about the trees and forest. वृक्ष कबहु नहीं फल भखै, नदी न संचय नीर, परमारथ के कारणे साधुन धरा शरीर. It means trees are benevolent, they never eat their fruit. Likewise, rivers never drink their water. In the same way, benevolent people are born for the welfare of the society, for the man. Thus, the importance of forests we have to study today, that they have some advantage. And we know that forests are the interaction or function of the lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere. It means the trees consist of the lithospheric, means the soil or other mineral contents, and they take something from atmosphere like CO2 and other gases. In the same way, they contain some amount of water. That's why they are from the lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere, and they are for the lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere. What are the importance of these forests? We have to study here. But before that, first we should differentiate between the advantage of forest and advantage of natural vegetation. Natural vegetation is a wide term of the floristic kingdom, while the forest is a part of natural vegetation. Thus, if you have to write an answer on the importance or advantage of forest, that is different from the essay that you are writing on the advantage of natural vegetation, because in forest only large trees are there. Contrary to natural vegetation, the shrubs, scrubs and grasses are also included. Here we are focusing on the importance or advantage of forest. Forest has two importance. Number one, direct, which we directly get from the forest, and the second is indirect, which we get indirectly. In direct advantage, there are two things. When trees are living, we get something. When trees are dead, we get something from the dead trees. In the living condition, we first get different types of fruits, different types of leaves for the manufacturing or manure and for the burning purposes, and different flowers are there for human use, and seeds we get to eat, germinate, and for medicinal purposes, and there are a number of spices which we get directly from the trees. In non-living, when trees are dead, they are dry. Trees are dead and dry. We get wood for the building of houses. Thus, house building materials are attained from the trees. The second is furniture industry. Third is, in furniture industry, we manufacture beds, chairs, and other furniture. And for lumbering industries, these forests are very important. Then paper and pulp industry, especially from the softwood coniferous forest in taiga region, and the match industry from the softwood. Next is fuel. For the burning purposes, forests, their branches are used, and these are used for the agricultural equipments also. In agricultural equipments, wood is used. Next is medicine. For example, neem leaf and other plants are there for medicinal purposes. Then it is tidal forest, which is important for the manufacturing of the boats, and then it controls the marine erosion. Means tidal forest along the coast control the marine erosion. Thus, these are the two direct advantages in which from living trees we get root, stem, fruit, flower, and when the trees become dry, they provide these things for human use. Now let us come to know the indirect importance or advantage. As we know that these trees are the product of lithospheric, atmospheric and hydrospheric conditions. That's why their spatial variation from equator to pole varies, and these trees are benevolent because what they get from the nature, from the lithosphere, atmosphere and hydrosphere, they very honestly return back it to the nature and indirectly to the man. For example, on lithosphere they play very important role because these trees form soil by the process of weathering, and that fertile soil is being controlled from the eroding process. That eroding process may be fluvial, aeolian, glacial, marine. Thus, the second important role of trees on lithosphere is these control soil erosion with the help of their root from the fluvial process by decreasing the wind speed, and their next advantage is they provide nutrient to soil with the help of their leaves which rottens in the soil. Thus, a number of nutrients are provided by the plant leaves to the soil. Next advantage on the lithosphere is these control landslide. If there is dense forest, their roots are gripping the land part on the slope. The rain cannot cause landslide, and when there is deforestation, land slides down and it is great loss to the lithosphere. And the next importance is maintain subsurface moisture. If there is a dense cover of soil, the rainwater is not allowed to filter down and it is retained by the plant roots in the form of film water. Thus, the subsoil moisture is maintained, which supports the dense flora cover or the growth of shrubs and grasses, and it provides a healthy environmental and ecological condition. Thus, if soil gets something from lithosphere, in turn it returns back the nutrients and other direct and indirect things to the lithosphere. This vegetation are especially forest large trees are boon for the preservation and conservation of the lithosphere, especially land and soil. Next, indirect impact of plant on atmosphere is number 1, carbon sinking. As we know that due to human activities, due to burning of fossil fuels, carbon dioxide amount in the atmosphere is increasing, but it is not a threat. Although immediately it is threat, even then there are trees which are ready to absorb the atmospheric increased carbon dioxide, and this absorption of increased carbon dioxide from the atmosphere by the forest or trees is called carbon sinking. Thus, the menace of CO2 increase and global warming is being controlled by the forest, and this is the indirect impact of forest or trees on atmosphere and on the world community. Next point is the source of oxygen. As we know that trees take CO2 from atmosphere and in turn release oxygen, which is used by the animals, and it is a boon for the animal or phonistic kingdom on our earth planet. For example, the selva forests of Amazon basin in South America, Brazil, are called the lung of the earth because they provide large amount of oxygen to the world community, animal community. Thus, it is also a boon for the atmosphere of the planet. Next is control wind speed. Forest or trees control the wind speed, and especially they play a special role in Africa, Sahara Desert, and protect these forests protect the agricultural or agro landscape in sub-Sahara region. Likewise, these are the boon for the Delhi and other metropolis cities which are adjacent to the deserts and are likely to be affected by the moving sand dunes. And next point is these forest or trees regulate temperature. As we know that it is the phase of global warming the earth planet is now facing, but the trees don't allow temperature to increase, rather they control it, they regulate it by evapotranspiration. If you move in hot desert areas, arid and semi-arid areas, the atmosphere there will be arid. Contrary to it, in forested areas, the temperature is regulated, controlled. That's why these forests also provide good habitat by the normal temperature and rich ecosystem. Next point is evapotranspiration. These forests, as we have discussed, with the help of evapotranspiration, keep the temperature of that area normal, moderate, and also provide the good condition, favorable condition for rainfall. Next point is increase humidity. By the process of evapotranspiration, the humidity of the surrounding area and atmosphere is increased. For example, if we see along the Indira Canal in Rajasthan, there the amount of humidity is high, relative humidity is also high, that favors the rich biosphere there. The credit for this goes to the forest belt along Indira Canal in Rajasthan. Next point is these cause rainfall. If the amount of relative humidity near the forest areas is 99%, but at 99% there will be no saturation and condensation and no rainfall, but these forests by the process of evapotranspiration increase 1% amount of relative humidity and adds it to the atmospheric humidity, and it reaches and the saturation level is reached, rainfall is caused. That's why there is slogan ban lagao barsa karao. It means if you are planting the forest or doing afforestation and reforestation practice, certainly it will increase the amount of rainfall in that area, and that will directly and indirectly affect the atmospheric, hydrospheric and biospheric condition. Now come to the third point, that is biosphere. Here in atmosphere we have seen that these plants or forests have the indirect role over the atmospheric condition as well as moisture and hydrospheric condition also. Now the third sphere is biosphere, means the other plants and animals, means flora and fauna, in other words ecosystem and ecology. There they have also important role. Number one, provide shelter to the birds and animals. These are the forests or shrubs or grasses which support the existence of different types of birds. They may be mammals, amphibians or other animals, and these animals get their shelter, food in the forest and plants in the forested areas, and especially dense plants. Next point is these serve and these provide the food energy at trophic level, and there is food chain and food web. As we have studied in the ecosystem that there are different trophic level, first, second, third, fourth, wherein there are herbivores, carnivores and omnivores. These forest kingdoms serve the ecosystem at trophic level, but at the base trophic level, means the dense the forest, the rich the first trophic level, and the rich the ecosystem. But if there is no forest, there is no flora. For example, in hot deserts, the trophic level will be poor, and the energy flow and biogeochemical cycle through these food chain and food web will be weak. That's why the dense the forest, the rich the trophic level, and the more the food and the strong rich the food web and food chain, and the rich the ecosystem. Next point is these forests maintain ecology and ecosystem of that area, as we have discussed. For example, in equatorial evergreen forest, there are a number of plant species which provide rich base of ecosystem, whereupon depend the more the number of animal species, and there is rich ecosystem and ecology, and much and better biogeochemical cycle and energy flow. And next point is there is very rich environment and hydrological cycle. The dense forest support the rich hydrological cycle, and this hydrological cycle in turn affects atmosphere positively, and if atmosphere is healthy, certainly the other environmental condition of that area will be healthy. Thus the credit of forest goes much to the healthy lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere and biosphere. And if our environment means lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere and biosphere are rich, certainly we will be rich, and we will be human, we people on the earth will get much and much from the forest, and thus in this way the forests are boon for this earth planet in two ways. Directly we get from the forest, and indirectly we get the forest. Thus it is moral duty of people on the earth to preserve and conserve the forest, and thereby keep our environment lithospheric, atmospheric, hydrospheric and biospheric healthy.